Welcome back to Tiny Grimes Games, and I'm here with another Star Wars Destiny video. And today we have exciting news. We got a new spoiler over the weekend. It is Darksaber, and it is awesome. I'm just saying it now. This is a legendary. It's neutral. It's awesome. Everyone is going to want to get them early and often in the new set. Don't let someone bamboozle you into trading it for some character that may or may not be good. Hold on to your Darksaber. It is the card of the next set. Alright, so what makes it good? You might think 4 costs for an upgrade means it's not going to be good. I've reviewed a lot of 4 cost upgrades on the show, and they always go like this. Name me a 4 cost upgrade that has been great. And the answer is, oh right, there aren't any. There have been some that have seen a little play. Vibro Cutlass is a good example of one of the most recent cards that kind of snuck into the meta. But Darksaber is going to have a major presence. Major reason is this. Redeploy. Redeploy means you can plunk down that 4 and it is not going away. It doesn't just go away when the character dies. You can afford to put it on the character that's being targeted. And in fact, this particular weapon, you probably will be putting it on the character that is being targeted because it's going to be the good character, the elite character with all the dice doing all the damage. So even after they remove Darksaber, it's still going to go over to somebody good. And what's so amazing about this card is if you put it on the big character, because it gets such a boost, it's going to draw that fire. Where normally what happens is when the redeploy goes on the weapon, a person will often be like, well, it's not even that worth it to take out that guy. I guess I take out the other person first. Now it draws it in, and hopefully on that turn when the character dies, you're getting 2 usages out of the weapon if you're doing things right. Alright, so let's take a look at this thing. It has a 2 damage side, a 3 damage side, and a 2 focus side, and a dollar side, and a shield side, no blanks. That's pretty amazing, especially when you factor in that these could be 1 to 2 more. So it could be, you need shields to stay alive, boom, you got 3 shields. You need some money for the next weapon, sure you paid 4 for this, but you're getting $3 out of it on this roll. Some of the things you can do are nuts, and of course, 5 damage in a roll? Sure, why not? So, what's going to make this card so amazing, of course, is this bonus that it gets, the value goes up by 1 if it's on a 15 cost character or more, or 2 if it's on 20. So, let's take a look at what archetypes this is going to be utterly amazing with. I was going through the 20 cost characters. There really aren't that many great ones, but I can see a day where something like Vader Raider or something like that comes back into prominence, because now Vader is like ultra beast mode, and you still get stupid things like the Tusken Raider rolling in off of the Mind Probe and not being able to prevent it at the end of the game. But now when Vader dies, the Darksaber moves over to him also, and so then you're rolling in the Darksaber that can't be taken care of. So you have all these different possibilities. In essence, when that major character goes away now, you have the heirloom lightsaber and the Darksaber that can move over, and you can really, I think, set up even more dramatically these 2 character lineups that when the main character dies, the second character is still a real legit threat. Another character that I'm looking at a lot more seriously now is the older Obi-Wan Kenobi, the 20.1. Putting this on that Obi-Wan, when that Obi-Wan dies now, the Darksaber moves over, and they get another awesome upgrade, like an heirloom lightsaber that you discarded, or maybe a lipo that got something that got discarded that's amazing that now goes on as well. That seems really, really strong, and I'm wondering if that Obi-Wan becomes good. So what happened a lot of times is people would go, I'm not killing that Obi-Wan first, it's not worth it. Because something good comes out, but they have to with the Darksaber on. Really? You're going to let this roll in and do 5 damage? I don't think you can do that. And so what a lot of people have been saying is something like, well, card's not that good. You just remove that die every turn. Okay, sure. You remove that die every turn, but in those monster elite character decks, where it's like the one character and the other character, you needed removal for when that character rolls the 3. If now you're removing the Darksaber every turn and letting them just roll 2 3s with Vader and wrecking you, I don't see how you're able to just say something as flippant as, you'll just remove that every turn. I don't think that's viable in those types of decks, which is where I think this is going to be incredibly scary. Now, I'm hoping there's an even better more powerful 20 cost character that comes along. Because to be honest, I feel like all the 20 plus characters are a little bit underpowered for costing as much as they do. Like, there's just, when you have something like Ayla at 912, 28 points more, you got to be really, really good. So I'm not entirely sure. I was initially excited about the newest Obi-Wan, but the newest Obi-Wan's only 19. Getting the 1 point benefit, I don't think that's going to be quite good enough. But so the next step is, of course, to look at the double elite 15 cost category. And this is where things get really, really interesting because you can do some really cool stuff here. I think Hondo and Darksaber are going to go together hand in hand in a lot of decks because Hondo can make money or either do piles of damage early if they choose not to pay you off, and then ramp into a late game that is the Darksaber in addition to other stuff. That's really a scary late game that you're ramping into. If they do pay you off, of course, then you get an early game Darksaber on your elite Hondo, and then when Hondo dies, moves over to the other 15-point guy, or vice versa. I think Hondo is going to take a real step forward with Darksaber, which, to be honest, is kind of scary because Hondo is like, for a little while in our meta, it looked like maybe he was going to be overpowered, and then, you know, people kind of realized, like, oh, okay, if you don't pay Hondo off, he's not as scary. I don't know. Darksaber and Hondo seem pretty scary together. Another character that I'm really excited about is Dooku. I feel like Darksaber and Dooku could really make Dooku more prevalent and make him pretty scary. I mean, people forget how good that guy is. He has a weakened force illusion built into the dude. He is good. The problem is his dice and his damage at 1-2 are just a little bit underpowered of what other options you can have. But if you get survivability plus Darksaber, I feel like that could be really, really strong. And so I'm excited to at least try Dooku with this. You got Ventress as well, who's interesting. Bosk seems interesting. Another character that could be really, really strong with this is the old Phasma. Remember when we used to go Phasma Guardians, and you get some guns, and you roll them out, and you do some cute stuff. That's all great and everything. But if you could put Darksaber on her and roll out and get 4, that's kind of crazy. Like, maybe that is viable. I don't know if it is because she has in the past been run with guns, and you can usually do some cool stuff with that. But boy, I mean, 4 is pretty darn good. The 4 side is pretty great. Another character, of course, is Unkar at 15. I don't know. Maybe his money-making tendencies give him enough resources to make him a viable damage dealer. He really hasn't been in the past, but maybe you pair him with a blue character, you get Darksaber and Heirloom Lightsaber, you're able to pay for them because you're hitting good stuff like Darksabers with Unkar. I don't know, he's a promising guy. A character that I've looked at and went, oh, really? Jango. Could this be a card that allows a resurgence of Jango? Unfortunately, he's 16, so when he dies and it moves over to the other characters, it's not quite as impactful. But if you run Jango at 16 with like 2 7s, and they go for Jango first because you have a Darksaber on him, and it's too much to have him rolling in 3 or 4 unmitigatable, then it has 2 7-cost guys to bounce around to. Maybe that makes up for the fact that it doesn't bounce to another 15. So Jango is kind of exciting. And of course, the new Rey, this would be amazing on her. Even the new Poe, I know he doesn't have melee, but whatever. It's still an awesome card. It's just a question of who currently would pair with Poe. It seems like it'd have to be somebody like maybe Hondo. So, in other words, this is a really, really, really exciting card that could maybe bring back that big guy, little guy archetype in a different way. Like right now, it feels like it's basically the Maz deck, right? Like, is it Sabine? Is it Obi-Wan trying to be fast, trying to cheat in damage? This could be a little bit different. It could bring back sort of like the more plotting method with something like Vader X, where you're just like, okay, I know I'm not fast, but guess what? My damage sides are insane, and you can't mitigate them all. And then when you do finally kill Vader, good luck with the unmitigatable Tusken Raider. So I'm real excited for Darksaber. I'm very excited to see what 20-plus characters come out in the next set with this. Are we going to see, like, you know, right now it's like all or nothing, right? It's like 28 with Palpatine or 20. Can we find some middle ground in there where, you know, anywhere up to 24 would be fine because you can have a Jawa. So like someone at Elite at 24 plus Jawa or 23 plus 7 cost character could really, really go well with Darksaber, as that character would theoretically be super powerful, maybe have a ton of health. And if a character can have a ton of health and the Darksaber and be super powerful, that becomes really scary. And then, of course, what are the 15-point characters? You know there'll be some. Is there going to be a yellow 15-pointer that can toss Boss to the side, that can toss Unkar to the side, that can toss Hondo to the side and say, this is the yellow character you are using with Darksaber? I don't know. What do you think? Am I right? Is this going to be the it card of the next set that you already want copies of or not? I think it is. I'll see you next time on Tiny Grimes Games.